doesn't seem to matter when the week is nearly through.
So I met Stephanie back in the day. It's funny, the first time, a lot of people ask how I first met Stephanie, and it's kind of funny. The first time we actually met was New Year's, not last year, but the year before, and I actually threw a big New Year's party downtown at the Ugly Monkey.
I'm Ryan Hupfer, and it is less than 24 hours until the VIP New Year's Eve tent bonanza.
Hey there, Hup, what's going on? This is Zach Legend. I'm outside the Ugly Monkey right here. Where? Tomorrow night. Which actually is New Year's Eve. We're going to be right outside, right here in this very tent for the big New Year's Eve extravaganza.
Whoop whoop. So there was really nothing going on for New Year's, so I had this party set up, and I actually met this woman who ended up being Stephanie's boyfriend's boss at the time. His name was Craig. So Craig ended up coming to my New Year's party because his boss said that he needed somewhere to go for New Year's. So I was like, well, he can go to my party. So he ended up coming to my party, and lo and behold, Stephanie came along with him. And at the time, I was dating somebody else, but I totally remember Stephanie coming in, and she was super hot. And I think I started thinking to myself, how did Craig get somebody that hot? I was thinking to myself, but I probably only said hi to her. I was running around like crazy in my tux that night. But, you know, fast forward a few months later, several months later actually, and that's when I randomly saw her in Have a Nice Day Cafe downtown.
I met Ryan for the second time, for real, at Have a Nice Day, and it was just like a totally random night. Didn't really even plan to go out, but me and a couple of my friends decided to go just to hang out on Thursday night. And I saw Ryan there, and I was like, I think I know that guy from somewhere, but I'm not really sure.
And I remember seeing Stephanie, and I was like, man, first of all, that girl's really hot. Second of all, she looks familiar.
And he actually didn't even come up and talk to me. His friend Jingles, who I thought was a total creeper at the time, came up and talked to me.
I do what any man would do, and asked my friend to go talk to her. So Jingles went and talked to her, and I think scared her a little bit.
I ended up talking to him and another one of his friends, and we had a really great time. And then finally, at the end of the night, Ryan came up and talked to me. And he said something like, I think you look familiar, and we figured out that we had met on New Year's a year ago, a year prior to this. And he said something like, he asked for my phone number, and I gave it to him, figuring he would never call me.
I got her phone number, cha-ching!
And at the end of the night when the lights came on, he said, oh, so that's what you really look like?
Oh man, that's what you look like when the lights are on? You know, trying to play hard to get, even though she looked really hot.
I was like, oh, how funny. I actually kind of like this guy because that was cool. So the next day, he actually called me, which I was so surprised and so nervous for because I thought he was awesome. He invited me to go on our first official date, which was to a Poison concert with Brett Michaels, which I didn't even really care about him yet because Rock of Love hadn't started yet. But then I started watching Rock of Love, and I love Brett Michaels. That's besides the point now, because I love Ryan also. More than Brett Michaels. But anyways.
Barely.
The Poison concert he told me about, and we were actually going in a chicken limo.
Yeah, so the chicken limo is a huge yellow limo, big chicken head on top. It actually clucks. Their tagline is "Get clucked up."
I didn't know anybody else that was going, and it just sounded kind of weird. And so I almost called him that day and said, I don't think I'm going to make it. And I was going to make up some excuse.
You know, she didn't tell me this for a while, but she said she almost didn't go to the concert, which would have sucked.
But I ended up going, and it actually turned out to be one of the best nights that we've ever had together. It was our first date, and it was awesome. And I got to meet a whole bunch of people, and we just had a really great time.
It's always fun telling people the first date story, because, I mean, who else went on a first date in a big yellow chicken limo to a Poison concert? I mean, come on, that's about as original as it gets.